It's my fault that I didn't have condom, but for her to shut everything down and end the way it did, it hurt me. It hurt me.
Brian is always going to remind me of the man that cannot take no for an answer. I would go as far as saying that he is one of the worst 90 Day Fiancé cast members. I would hope that I never get to see him again on my screen, and I cannot wait for everyone at the tell-all to drill this man until he has tears on his eyes.
Marty, I'm scared.
Hello guys, and welcome back to Cheese My Corner. Today we're going to be covering the latest episode of Before the 90 Days. I genuinely missed this show. It has been really good the past couple weeks, so let's cover this week's episode. Last episode, Adnan decided to touch Tiger Lily's friend's hand and she lost her mind. She started standing up for herself. She couldn't believe the double standards. She was just confused. And in this episode, she is upset. She's walking away, throwing a tantrum. These were rules that you would have already known if you would have done any type of research in regards to what this relationship was going to be like, but you chose not to.
I take Tiger Lily to a beautiful place and feel like I am a best husband when I do these things to her.
Adnan says that, he's the best husband. He brought her here, so he just doesn't understand why she's so upset about the situation. I mean, you have rules that are only for her, but not for you. So of course she's frustrated and she just can't comprehend why you would do that to her. So Tiger Lily gets out of the car and Adnan's brother also gets out of the car and he's like trying to talk to her, trying to, make her go back inside the car. And this is when Tiger Lily tells him,
Doing things to make him happy.
Yeah.
And always thinking about him.
she's becoming extremely emotional while talking to Adnan's brother. And this is where Adnan's brother tells her, no, the rules are for you and him. And I want you to understand that he loves you.
Adnan, do you love you? Very much love you.
But Tiger Lily is just sitting there. Standing technically. She's just standing there. She's not really saying much. And Adnan makes his way over to her. He hugs her. He tells her that he loves her, that everything's gonna be okay.
Princess A. Okay?
That's it?
In her confessional, she says that if he doesn't follow the rules, then she's not going to follow the rules. But I don't believe it. I don't buy it, because right after this, you guys just make up like nothing happened. Even Tiger Lily's friends are extremely confused. They're like, what happened? She was standing up for herself last episode, and right now, she's just agreeing with everything that Adnan is saying.
You accept my apologies or not?
I do.
Yeah?
Doesn't mean I'm happy.
While they're having a conversation, Tiger Lily reminds him how it hurt her feelings, how this is extremely hypocritical, that he's allowed to do things like that, but she isn't. And he apologizes. He's telling her, I'm sorry, baby. I didn't mean it. I'm not mean.
I don't know.
I don't mean. Swear to God, I don't mean.
And I don't know. I just don't like how Adnan talks, just because he seems like a child. Like, he acts like a child, sounds like a child, and we can attribute that to his age. I believe he's 23, 22. He's super young. So it does make you understand a little bit better why he talks that way. He genuinely talks like a baby. And not to criticize all the 23-year-olds that are actually mature, but this boy right here does not seem to be mature at all. Also, when they got married, all he really cared about is the act of having sex. Anything else was just like an extra thing on top of it. But the main reason why they got married is because they wanted to be intimate.
Can you give me just one hug now? This one? For Adnan, for your love, for your husband.
Tiger Lily says that even though they had a disagreement, the conversation is still going to take place later in the future because there's a lot of things that they need to talk about. And she also highlights that this is his first relationship, so he's not used to someone telling him what he's doing wrong, and especially for a woman to stand up for herself.
It was amazing to ride the camels with their little outfit on and their long lashes.
Tiger Lily says that she loved the lashes on the camel. Maybe she hopes that she had them on maybe that will make her fly away and we won't have to listen to her long voice over and over again.
I really like riding anything.
Why do you have to make that comparison of riding everything with the camel? Like, it's just weird. Why? It doesn't make sense.
I like your guys' energy. You guys are very vibrant.
I really like you guys.
Thank you.
And funny.
These two are not vibrant. I just don't think they're funny. I think what makes them funny is just how stupid the relationship is, but not themselves.
But I'm just worried about the future because you guys are in this.
One thing that I did agree with her on was that she was telling them, how are you guys gonna, deal with this relationship? Because right now you guys are living in La La Land. This is a honeymoon phase. And I'm worried that when you guys are separated, when she goes back to the States and he stays here, things are not gonna be so pretty like they are at the moment.
Oh, don't make my wife worried now. I am with my wife forever.
This was Adnan's answer to the friend asking, how are you guys going to do this? Like, Adnan is probably going to get homesick when he goes to the States. How are you guys going to deal with this? And I think those were valid questions.
Away from his friends and family because that seems to be very important to him.
I think it's incredibly nice of her to ask those questions when Tiger Lily has not even spent 1 second thinking about them. And Adnan takes this as, oh my God, they're trying to make us spy. Oh my God, what are they going to say when they go back to the US? It's not just about sex. It's not just about you guys having fun or painting the picture of a perfect relationship on social media.
Because we love each other so much that we'll get through it.
But don't worry, because Tiger Lily also has a solution. Love. That's what's going to get them through all of this.
It does take a lot of love, but it's not only love. I mean, it's, trust, communication.
I think there needs to be more than just love. Love is not the only thing that's going to get you through a relationship. You need more than that. You need trust. You need compassion. You need all of these other things. And that's something that maybe you guys lack. But we don't even know that. You don't even know that because you guys have not spent enough time with each other.
As soon as I get back, I need to rush and find a house.
Once they're back at the hotel, Tiger Lily has now, thought about some of the things that Shay and Cruz said, and now she's a little worried.
Adnan's spousal visa, which could take a long time.
According to them, they just love each other so much that they're going to figure this out later on. And let's move over to the next couple. Now it's time to move to Rayne and Chidi. Rayne is still incredibly frustrated because Chidi is not going to sleep at the hotel with her because, he doesn't want any temptations. Just the idea of being in the same room with Rayne makes him feel some type of way. So he wants to avoid all of that because he wants to keep his promise to God. An understanding person would understand that, this is okay, that we don't have to push him. We don't have to make him do things that he's not comfortable with, but not Rayne. No, she's gonna do her best to make him understand that his beliefs are stupid.
Yesterday, I reached a breaking point with Victoria. I'm done with her constant judgment.
Rayne, what constant judgment are you referring to? Because if I remember correctly, you were the one that stated right at the beginning, before you even met her, that you knew you were going to have problems with her. If we remember correctly, many times you criticized the way that she was taking care of Chidi. So the one that has been judging this entire time has been you.
I never got a real answer.
He did give you a clear answer. He told you he didn't want to have any temptations. And you're over here pushing him to make decisions that he does not want to make.
The offer still stands if you want to go hang out at the hotel.
Now, even after this, when Chidi walks into the room and Rayne asked him if she's if he's gonna be going with her to the hotel. He tells her that he needs to make some arrangements, that he needs to sleep on it. And Rayne picks up on this and starts being rude. She's like, what arrangements? What do you need to do? And when he tells her, hey, I need to get some clothes, I need to gather up money for the hotel.
You act like you have a whole wardrobe. You got like three pairs of panties, 2 pairs of socks.
She also proceeds to call his excuses pathetic because she's like, no, that is offensive that you would even say that you have to prepare.
When you sit there and say you have to prepare, it's actually some bull that's and quite humiliating, actually.
He can't even tell you the truth because in reality, he's avoiding you. He's avoiding the truth, which is, I don't want to be in the same room with you. I feel temptations.
I can also discuss it with my sibling and the husband.
This is when Rayne's rage starts just climbing up because the last thing she wants to hear is that Chidi needs someone's permission to be able to go to a hotel room with her. And I understand why she's upset. I would not like to hear that you need to ask your sister, your brother-in-law when you're a grown-up man. However, there's ways to respond to that. And what we're about to see was not it. And Rayne starts telling him something that just upset me. Because she's like, well, if you would have just given me all that I wanted,
I would have dropped everything in my existence for you.
If that is the case, him telling you I don't want to be intimate would not be such a big issue because you love him so much. So you will be okay with that, right? Like, am I reaching on this? Because I would think that if you really love someone and they tell you, I want to wait till marriage, I can't be in the same room with you, you would understand that.
But nothing was ever enough. You still gotta ask mommy and daddy in the next room, okay?
Just comments like that are so demeaning, especially because Chidi has been someone that needs to depend on people to be able to move through life. And to tell him that those are mommy and daddy and he always has to ask for permission, that's just messed up.
1, an intruder in your pants. And 2, an intruder in the house.
After she says, she's an intruder, she is an intruder in his life, and she should probably exit as soon as possible, Chidi starts telling her, please don't leave, please stay in the relationship if you're not here. And she's like, well, how are we supposed to work in this relationship if we can't even be in the same room together?
When you refuse to be with me in a certain location, I'm done.
Shouldn't you have been done the moment that you got here and that he told you that you guys couldn't sleep in the same room together?
Okay? Make sure sister won't go over there and check on me either.
Has she been spying on you? Did she put cameras in your room? I don't think so. This woman opened the doors to her house. She offered you food. She cleaned out the room just so you could sleep there. If I remember correctly, they're sleeping in the living room while you are sleeping in their bedroom.
Okay? No. She's an intruder, okay? Play with yourself.
You are calling her an intruder? You think that she's controlling Chidi? Someone that needs help around here so he can actually live a comfortable life?
I don't know why Chidi can't see the truth about his sister. She's controlling Chidi.
The problem here is that you want to control him. And because you're not able to do so because his sister is there, someone that's actually protecting him and telling him what he should do, or at least guiding him, that's the problem here. Because you want to be able to do that.
Hello, Rayne.
I didn't know you were there, sorry.
I've been here.
Oh.
You understand? I've been listening to your conversation.
The entire time while this conversation is happening, it turns out that the brother-in-law was actually right out the door listening to this conversation. He's incredibly composed and he's like, hey, how are you guys gonna solve the situation? How are we gonna solve this conflict? And she's like,
I'm not gonna resolve it. I've tried.
Well, already packing her stuff because, she's leaving.
I want to make something clear to you now about your leaving.
This is when Chidi takes the opportunity to remind her, before you leave, I want you to understand that this is not because of my sister. This is because of you. Remember, you were the one that told everyone that you always have problem with sisters-in-law, that you already knew that something was gonna happen during this trip, and that you always had that feeling that it was gonna be there.
I always felt deep down.
You said
there was a reason.
You see now.
Look, see what happened?
You said
If you have had conflicts with people all the time in regards to their sister-in-law, maybe you should start thinking that you are the one with the problem.
Reason you see now, look, you said you can't cope with sisters.
Because he's trying to talk to her, he's trying to make her understand that, you know, she was the one eventually that did all of this.
Shut up, Chidi.
And she just not listening. And yeah, she tells him to shut up in front of his brother-in-law.
I am deeply horrified by the way Rayne is acting towards me.
And so am I, Chidi. And he's also realizing that this conflict has nothing to do with his sister. And all of this is just because of her.
I believe that Rayne's problem with my sister has nothing to do with my sister.
The sister has done nothing but open the doors of her home to her, for her to be comfortable, has understood what she has been going through, has made accommodations for her.
This problem is deeply rooted in her.
And all Rayne did the entire time was get defensive, get loud, give threatening looks.
No, did you not just see how he yelled at me? I'm done with him.
Can we please get a rewind in that entire argument?
I always felt deep down. There was a reason.
And at no point did I see Chidi yelling at Rayne.
He said he would stick up for me. Like I said, even if it's family.
When you stick up for someone, you stick up for them because they're right, not because they're wrong. And here in this situation, you are wrong, Rayne. At this point, there's a lot of emotions, many emotions right here. Rayne is upset, incredibly upset. Rayne made Victoria cry. And Victoria's like, you know what's wrong? You. You're the problem, girl.
Why you treating this guy? You took everything out of hand. You talked to him.
All of us have seen how you have been treating Chidi this entire season. And it's no secret that you don't value him as a partner. You just value him as a piece of meat. You're just so happy that he's blind.
Why did you invite me if you hate me?
Victoria did not hate you. And I would even go as far as saying that Victoria doesn't even hate you now. She just doesn't like the way that you have been treating Chidi. And it's understandable. Imagine that you hear someone like you say the things that you have said about your brother, and then you go, I love this girl. Like, we are best friends. Of course, that's not going to happen.
I don't like you because you do this and that.
Stupid Rayne and does this little thing where she mocks Victoria. And I thought it was so disrespectful. Like, Victoria has better manners than I do. She also had her baby on her hip. So I understand why she, you know, just didn't jump on Rayne and just kick her out of the house.
She started yelling and this resulted to a hot altercation.
Chidi has tried to calm Rayne down multiple times. It has not worked. He has realized now that it's a little bit too late. Now there's a conflict between Rayne and his sister.
See, but I
It's fine. It's
calm
fine.
down.
Ooh, yeah, what you lucky my friend's holding me. You lucky, because I'll tear your head off.
Something that really upsets me is the fact that Rayne got on Victoria's face while she was carrying her kid. Now, I know that Victoria also yelled. I know that Victoria was also frustrated, but at no point did she try to get on Rayne's face and was like, shut it, or making stupid noises at her, which again, I don't even know what those noises mean. What are you doing, Rayne? This is a human. This is a person. Don't talk to them like that. The amount of disrespect and the amount of anger that I would have felt that day, I don't think I would have been able to hold myself. I think we would have gotten into a physical altercation.
Talking to my wife, you understand? It's actually my wife you're addressing this way.
And Rayne turns to Chidi like, hey, why are you not protecting me? Do something about the situation. I thought for a second she was gonna say something, you know, I guess logical, but no.
Did I not always tell you that I always had a feeling about sisters?
And this proves my point. I guess if by proving points, we are going to say something like, oh, I'm gonna have a conflict with this person, and then you're going to cause the conflict. You caused the conflict. It's not like it happened out of nowhere. It's not like, you know, she started it.
But because she wants to play the game and say that she don't like me because of this and that, I'm done.
And here she is blaming Victoria for her decisions. You're not coming back because of your actions. You're not coming back because you're making a fool people out of yourself.
When Earth first started, it wasn't a program. Welcome to your program, okay?
What the fuck are you talking about, girl? Like, I thought that she was gonna start preaching or saying something about God.
Started, and go, yeah, roll your eyes, good.
And I would have done the same thing. Walk away. I don't need to hear your nonsense. Victoria's husband starts telling Rayne to like calm down. Maybe we can talk about this later.
Not to destroy a relationship that has taken you almost 5 years to build.
And she's like, if you think that it was me, the one that destroyed it, you are wrong.
But in the end, you'll see the truth.
We would see what? You were the one that destroyed this relationship.
I always will, Chidi, and I wish the best for you, but I'm done.
And then there's this moment where Rayne starts talking mainly to Chidi, telling him that this is finally over, that she can't do this to herself, that she's going to move on. And the producers decide to do the thing where they blind the viewer to show us what Chidi is going through. And I genuinely felt for him. There's so much chaos around him, and to not be able to see what the chaos is like would be extremely scary to me.
Babe,
You will never see me again.
And then we get the famous quote, "You'll never see me again, Chidi," which is like, girl, he's never seen you. Okay? He's never seen you. I don't even know why you would say that.
Seeing her walk out that door made me sick. It made me sad.
And when his brother-in-law comes over to try to talk to him and see if he's okay, you know, he tells him, you know, everything's all right, it's gonna be fine. Chidi is destroyed. He doesn't even want to talk about what's going on. Like, the fact that this woman made him pick between his family and her when they're not even married. Like, they are just meeting each other for the first time, and you're already making this man choose between his family and you.
Between you and my family, why can't you build the bridge?
I think this one was one of the hardest breakups to me, just because Chidi genuinely loved Rayne, and he is put between two people that he loves.
I love everyone. I am heartbroken.
Let's keep in mind that, like, his sister has been there for him this entire time. She has been helping him. I mean, he lives with her. He's there with them. And Rayne has done nothing. Like, maybe she sent some money here and there. Maybe she sent him some gifts. But at the end of the day, these are his people. And you came over here, took advantage of the family, and disrespected their home. Later on, Rayne is crying in the taxi, saying that this is painful to her.
I want to throw up.
It was really hard for me to feel bad for her because she did this to herself. But that's all we get for Chidi and Rayne. Now let's move over to the next couple.
Did you want to come in, or?
I'm not comfortable to go inside.
One thing I really do appreciate about Faith is the fact that she sets her boundaries and she respects them, and she doesn't allow Loren to step over them. Every single time that she has told him something, even though you can tell that Loren might be disappointed or he doesn't necessarily want to do that, she doesn't really care about his emotions in regards to that. So I really do appreciate that.
I texted Faith around 9 a.m. this morning just to see if she's willing to have a conversation with me.
And now it has been the time for them to have a conversation about everything that happened, because Faith still loves him.
We're in this situation because I messed up. I felt like I was communicating that I was sleeping with people.
So at first, Loren is taking a little bit of accountability. When Faith tells him, you know, you have a disease and that's alarming, he says, yes, I know. But then he goes, but I mean, I kind of did tell you that I was like sleeping with other people. And Faith catches onto this and asks him, so do you mean to tell me that every single time you told me you were sleeping over at someone's house, you were actually sleeping over and sleeping with them? Is that what I'm hearing?
Not every house, but maybe like once a week.
So this man was literally having sex every single week with either someone different or the same person.
So once a week in every week?
Yes.
Faith, the moment she hears this, she's just like, oh my God, another thing on top of this.
Why are you having sex with others and you always say you love me?
I was hoping that he was going to answer this question properly, but he doesn't. He tells her that he does love her, that he cares for her, that he wants to be with her, and doesn't answer Why did you cheat on me if you said you loved me? Just be honest with her and tell her that you did not love her, that your lust and your kinks were more important to you than the actual love that you say you have for Fate. He then apologizes for cheating.
I'm sorry I cheated on you.
When he had said that it wasn't cheating, so we can all agree that it was cheating.
I don't know what to do because we're going to later to meet my family.
Yeah.
So it turns out that tomorrow they actually have to go meet Fate's family. And they're excited. They have been waiting for this moment, and they are happy to know that Fate is dating someone and she's gonna bring a boyfriend along. But there's a problem, isn't there? The fact that this man has been cheating on her this entire time.
But they wouldn't want me to be with someone who would treat me like this.
And Fate tells him that, you know, these are my words, that against her better judgment, she's still going to bring him around.
So you don't want to introduce his boyfriend? What, just this guy?
For now.
Because Loren has to prove to her that he is loyal to her and that, you know, he needs to prove that he can actually be a boyfriend, which I don't think he can.
And hopefully I can become boyfriend again. And then one day, real fiancé.
I don't believe in Loren. I think he's a liar. I think he's a manipulator. And I really hope that he is as far away as possible from Fate. But I know that they're probably still together. But Fate tells him that she's gonna give him a second chance. And Loren says that he's never gonna cheat on her, that this is her until the end of time, that he hopes that he can get back to being her boyfriend, then fiance, and then being together forever. So I hope that, you know, Loren doesn't break your heart, but I don't trust that man. No one should trust that man. And that's all we get for those two. Now let's move on to the next couple.
Vou apresentar ele às minhas amigas.
At this point, I am convinced that Brian put something on Ingrid's drink, and that's why she keeps going back to him, because she thinks that they're in a really good spot right now. So she has decided to actually allow him to meet her friends.
Eu tinha comentado com as minhas amigas o fato de estar em.
She's also planning on spending a night with him. She has also told her friends that, you know, he's on a wheelchair because she doesn't want any surprises. She doesn't want her friends to act shocked when they see him. And I think if they act shocked, it's going to be because he's an asshole and not because he's on a wheelchair. So we'll see how that goes too.
I'm also worried because if I don't fit into this part of her life, I mean, it could be another setback to the relationship.
Because of all the setbacks that he has placed himself. So he's really hoping, you know, tonight's going to go great, that they're going to have a good get together, and that he's going to be able to fit into Ingrid's life. One of Ingrid's friends asked Brian if he needed any help when he came here to Brazil, and he's like, no, you know, I didn't get any help. I came here by myself. I was a golden medalist. Well, I'm a golden medalist. I competed. I did this. I did that. And where was that a couple episodes ago?
Porque as pessoas são muito preconceituosas. Vai ser desafio. É desafio.
The producers also asked the friends what they think about Brian, you know, about her dating someone on a wheelchair. And one of them says that they're only worried about the challenges that they're going to face. Back at the table, I feel like the producers either asked the friend to ask those questions and to bring it up over and over again because they're trying to push them to, you know, be intimate with one another.
Mas onde foi e como foi a primeira noite de amor?
I feel like as a friend, the questions that you should be asking are not those. This is your friend. According to Ingrid, these are her besties. So why are her besties not asking the right questions to this guy?
Normalmente chega no Brasil, já tô na cama da primeira noite com pessoa.
Brian says that he has always dated Brazilian women, and when he arrives the first night, he's already in bed, sleeping with them, you know, doing the nasty. Let's not forget that one of the main reasons why you have not gotten laid to this point is because of you.
Totalmente diferente. Pra mim, ela é linda, gostosa, gatona.
And what Brian is doing right now is that he's trying to make us believe that he's doing this because he sees Ingrid differently, because he wants a serious relationship with her, which is not the case because you wanted to sleep with her, you just didn't get the chance to do so.
Acredito que até o momento vocês não acasalaram.
There's a time and place for everything, and I don't necessarily think that right now is the time and place for that. Do you think you would be saying all of those things if you knew all the things that Brian has been doing? And also, Ingrid, why don't you tell your friends of all the things that Brian has been doing?
Aprovou.
If this is the type of approval that it takes for Brian to be able to sleep with you, you guys should be ashamed. You should be ashamed of yourself, Ingrid, and your friends should be ashamed of themselves too.
She's never had sex with someone in a wheelchair. So there's always a chance they could go bad.
I don't think so much the fact that you're on a wheelchair is what would make the situation go wrong. I think it's more than anything just you and who you are as a person and what might happen that night because of how you react to things or the things that you might do because you don't get what you want.
Ingrid and I never really had that conversation about sex, about expectations.
Well, you never really had any conversations about anything other than lies. Now, Brian is extremely excited. He's happy. You know, the friends push Ingrid to want to be intimate with this guy. So now he's, you know, getting ready for this. He is extremely excited. And this is going to go well, right? Because Brian came prepared, because Brian understands that he can be pushy, right?
Eu sei que já tá atrasado do dia, tá muito tarde.
And since now they had a bit of a conversation about sex, which wasn't really a conversation, Brian brought her a gift. And that gift is some red lingerie. She sees it and she's like, oh my God, like she can't even believe it. When I saw those things, I definitely thought that they were just strings and that nothing was going to be covered. And that's exactly what happens because once Ingrid comes out, it's like she's purely naked. The many times that I thought something's gonna come out.
Eu não sei se ele realmente chega a fazer sexo mesmo, normal.
Ingrid is also worried because she does not know how having sex with someone on a wheelchair is going to be like. And of course, she did zero research. Of course, Brian didn't tell her. If anyone out there is comfortable answering this question, if you are on a wheelchair, is this a conversation that you are going to have with your partner before? Is this a conversation that you're gonna have during this? Or is this something that you just avoid because you just don't want to talk about it because you know that you're gonna perform? I don't know. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in regards to that. If there's anyone open and willing to share that with us. Then once Ingrid gets on the bed, which I don't even know what parts I can play from this clip just because, like I said, she's kind of naked already. I think I will be embarrassed, honestly, like to show so much and then have everyone see. I know that people do get paid extra when they do scenes like this one or when they do bathroom scenes, so I can understand why maybe she did it. But she gets on the bed, Brian starts massaging her. I'm not gonna lie, I was disgusted, and not because Brian is disabled, but because how gross Brian has been. It just never stops. Like every time I see him and I see the faces that he makes or the way that he talks to Ingrid, it just feels like he's trying to play her every single second. And Ingrid keeps falling for it, and that frustrates me more. It's been an hour later, and it turns out that Ingrid and Brian got into an argument. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to this part.
Door was closed after you guys left, and I went in to give her attention, kiss her, touch her, and she's like, whoa.
When he says that, he makes it clear that the moment the camera is left, Ingrid changed, right? Like she didn't want to have sex with him anymore. The way that he's explaining it is like if he's trying to tell us that Ingrid is playing for the cameras. But then on his confessional, he says the following.
Ingrid made it clear that she was ready to have sex, but I didn't have a condom.
Once we get a more clear answer as to why Ingrid said no, it makes a lot of sense. Brian forgot a condom, wanted to go down on her, and she said, no, I don't think so.
But once I went to go kiss her stomach, she basically hand in the face, like, nope, stop.
I understand why she said no. She said no because we already know Brian. We already know how he is, and he lies. He lies a lot. So I am pretty sure that his intention was go down on her, push her, persuade her into allowing me to have sex with her. That's what he was going to do. And he knows damn well that he was going to do that. And in those situations, at times you feel pressure. You feel like you need to. You feel like you're already there. And then it happens. And I am so thankful that Ingrid said, no, we are done. This is not going anywhere. Let me get this straight. You brought lingerie, but you didn't bring protection?
But for her to shut everything down and end the way it did, it hurt me. It hurt me.
Of course, as always, Brian is hurt. So please, everyone, can we go, aww, for Brian? Because again, he's hurt. Like, what in the world? Every single time that something happens, you become the victim. It's not about how Ingrid felt or what you did wrong. It's about you, how you feel, how poor little baby was not able to have intercourse with Ingrid. Ingrid is with production, and I think once you're with production, things went very south. It usually does not happen. We usually never see the cameras around or production whatsoever. And she's telling us that the moment she found out that he didn't have a condom, she was like, you know what? No, we're not gonna do it. And Brian was like, oh, at least let me go down on you. And she said, no.
Tem preservativo? No, não tem. Tá, então pelo menos deixa.
He went down to kiss her and she was like, no, I don't think so. It is not going to happen. And he got upset. He was the one that left the room.
Vamos, né? Ele ficou chateado e vazou.
And I am inclined to believe Ingrid because Ingrid has not lied as many times as you have, Brian. If anything, she hasn't lied at all. She's been extremely honest this entire time. And you have already shown to be a very pitiful man.
Meeting the kid and meeting the friends and checking all the boxes and doing everything.
What checklist? What checklist? And not only that, but you met her kids because you pushed her to meet her kids. Not because she allowed you to, not because she was like, oh, Brian, let's go meet them. No, you push yourself into her life.
I thought it was a great compromise, a massage and oral sex.
There has to be something else going on.
Brian thinks it was a good compromise. Again, everyone's gonna have their own points of view in regards to that, but I think in this situation is incredibly frustrating and it is so different. I think this is a peculiar situation where Brian seeks the ability of taking advantage of someone, and that's exactly what's happening right now. He is trying to take advantage of Ingrid. So now he's trying to paint her as the bad guy by also saying that, you know, as a disabled person.
I'm always conscious about how women see me, whether I'm attractive or not.
It is not because you're on a wheelchair, it's because of how horrible you are, okay? If this is how you act in every single relationship that you have ever been in, you are the problem, Brian.
Eu não preciso disso, não. Não mesmo.
So Ingrid decides to go home. She says that all of this stress, it is not worth it. Not worth it, girl. So I hope it stays like that. Don't let this man reel you back in. He is not worth it, as you said, and he should not spend any time around you, your kid, or your family. That's gonna be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be covering the remaining couples on the next videos. Don't forget to come back later this week so you can hear my thoughts about them.